experience, man. You know?
And did you? I think you was one of the players who played for England as well, right?
Yeah. So I think the first time was under 14s. Under 15s was the first time. And I remember that clearly too. Everyone in that gym was good. There's like 200 kids in there. And I remember seeing the guys from White Heat, you know, and all these great players. And I didn't expect to get picked. You know, I just think it's, you know, so they cut the first 20 and I made the first 20 squad, which was unbelievable. You know what I mean? And then they cut it down to 11 or 10. I got selected, you know, and to this day, man, I mean, you know, I'm being honest. I didn't think I was the best player out there or even the top 12. But you know what, man? Every time I stepped on the court, man, I worked hard, man. There was no one else that was going to outwork me, jumping out of bounds, you know, stopping my man. Yeah, I couldn't fly above the rim as much as Andy could. I think I averaged about one dunk every 3 years, but I did the small stuff, bro. But my step back game was good though. I made up for it with my step back game.
One dunk every 3 years. Sounds like
yeah. I wasn't a game dunker.
It sounds like you had to find Dragon Balls in order to wish that you could dunk. That's hilarious. That's funny, man.
First and foremost, Andy took all the genes from mum and dad. The dunking genes didn't leave any for me. But second of all, I was a good practice dunker and a good warm-up dunker, but I just wasn't a game dunker, man. You know, so so I played for the England team. Me and my boy from East London, Ben Nwachukwu, we played on that team together. And then the next year, they literally cut the whole team, but they kept us two. And the only two that came back the next year. And you know, that was an amazing experience, man. You know, I think the point that you got to represent your country and represent all those players busting their tail, you know, that was pretty humbling. And I was one of the top players on the team at that point. You know, I progressed. I felt pretty confident, pretty good. But then one day I walked in the gym and they brought some dude over from America called Luol Deng, you know. And I walked in. And the dude,
Who's that?
Dude, I didn't know who he was. I walked in and dude was like, yeah, Chris, there's another player here, and, you know, he's taking your spot and all this and all that. I was like, look, man, ain't no one taking my spot, man. Who is this dude? And at the time, he had like a 7'3" wingspan. I played with him for a little bit. The next day, I packed my bag, said, all right, I'm going to America. Dude, he was good. He was, man, so I'm telling you, we went to play against the Scottish 2 weeks before. We lost by 100 points. You know, we lost most of our games, unfortunately. Luol Deng came in 2 weeks later, and we ate breakfast with the Scottish team. And they were talking mad trash because they just whooped us 2 weeks before. But, you know, Luol Deng, man, you know, he's real quiet. You know, he's hunched over. He's eating his food, just not saying anything. So they start poking fun at him, man. I've never seen, when we played the Scottish team, first and foremost, we won by about 100. I think Luol Deng had like 150 points. But I never seen a man just take over a game. He started the game at center, ended the game at point guard, man. So it's just incredible experiences from England, man.
Oh, wicked. I must just say, as someone who never got opportunity to play for England, every time I used to see guys in the England, I was like, wow, like, that must feel good, you know, to represent England. But that's an amazing story, man. That is an achievement. And anyone who tries to play down representing your country, like, you know, you're not being honest with yourself. But that's awesome.
Well, yeah. And there's, man, you know what? It's funny you say that, man. You know, yeah, we played for England, but there was a lot of great players out there that didn't play for England. They were phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. You know, so there was a little bit of politics. You know, I definitely saw some of that. You know, and but Bob,
it doesn't matter how you get there. If you get there, you earn the spot. That's all that matters. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So salute to you, man, represent England and all that stuff. So now you play for England. You just played with Mike Deng, aka Luol Deng, and now you know you're ready to go to America, because everybody who was at Leopards, East London Royals, you know that was the step. It was like you play, you become the best here, and then you go.
Yeah.
How did that happen for you? And was there any doubt in your mind that you could go to America? Because going to America was a big deal back then. It still is now. But it was really big back then because there was no internet.
No, 100%. You know, and you know, just getting that opportunity to play those 2-3 years in East London around the toughest kids, you know, and having that mentality, and then having a coach like Steve Pearl, you know, to really embrace the fundamentals, you know, my confidence was 100 out of 10, you know. And I remember my mom told me, she said, look, you're not going out there to mess around with girls and party and all that there. You're out there to find a school. So, you know, I was really focused when I jumped on that plane. So my brother was already out here playing Division One, okay? And I came out here for 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, I was to find a high school. That was the plan. So I visited about 3 or 4 different high schools because I had just turned, I was 16, just about turned 17. So I went into these high schools, man, and my mentality was I was the best player on the floor, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, the high school's like, look, we're going to take care of all your expenses. We've got American host family for you. School starts, you know, in a couple of days. And so I was like, okay, nice one. Let me go home, you know, get my favorite blanket, my small little mini TV, and say bye to my little brother Paul, you know? And they were like, no. They were like, no, school starts in a couple of days. And so I said, look, no problem. Look, call my mom, and you can have the conversation with her, you know? And I said, I'm not telling her, you know? So they called my mom, and my mom said, absolutely not. He has to come home, say bye, get his favorite blankie, you know, and bring that back. And they said, look, at the end of the day, if he leaves, this opportunity is off the table, you know? So you need to make a decision right now. You're going to let your son stay, or is he going to come home? So my mom had to make that decision at the time. I never came home, man. I stayed in the States, bro. It was just absolutely insane. But
that's awesome.
Bro,
that's such that to me, even when I'm thinking about it back then, I'm just like, that must have been just like people don't understand, like, that doesn't happen. Like, I've gone to America before I even went to America. I went to camps, paid money to go to camps. I've done what you've done. I've gone somewhere for a month and worked out with teams and didn't get no offers. Just to have that experience to be like, yo, boom, bang, let's go. Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm a big man of faith, man. So I definitely count it as a blessing. You know, I think God definitely played a role in it, you know. But my mind was there, my focus was there. And that's kind of what I tell people. Like, if you're passionate about something, you really want something, like, it's going to happen, but you got to believe in it. You got to believe in it, you know. And you know, that was tunnel vision coming out here. I guess I didn't know any better, you know what I mean? And so enrolled in school, you know, and then started taking classes a couple of days later. And man, it was crazy, man. And great experience playing high school basketball out here.
Yeah. I didn't play high school basketball in America. What's that experience like for someone from Essex who trains in East London to now you're in America at high school at age 16? I went to America at 21 and it was like a culture shock. I can't imagine being in America at 16. Like, what was that like?
Yeah. Well, I was very blessed, man, because my brother was out here. It wasn't like I was out here by myself. There's a lot of kids that came out here, even at college, by yourself. So I kind of had that support. I got put in a really good situation with just an amazing host family. Amazing host family. I've heard some bad stories over the time, but man, they're just good, giving people. Didn't expect anything in return. They took me in like their own. You know, I had an American host brother around the same age as me. You know, and you know, just. Honestly, I didn't give it too much thought at the time. I was here to play basketball and hopefully get a scholarship to college one day, you know, and that's why I invested all my time in, man, you know. And it was anytime I got homesick and started thinking about home, I had to just tell myself and remind myself, okay, what are we doing this for? You know, we're doing this because we love the game, and hopefully there's going to be a bigger picture to this, you know. So I just remind myself of that, you know, and go from there, man. And look, England didn't really have too much left for me, man. You know, I love England. I love the people there. You know, I've done well out here to where I'm at right now. But don't get it messed up. I barely scraped through to get C's from school. I barely passed school. And the only reason why I passed school is because my brother was on my backside saying, if you don't pass, you know, school, you can't go to college. But I'm talking about college in England, whatever it's called for the 2 years. Civic. You can't go there and you can't play basketball. So I barely scraped through, man. You know what I mean? So to have a chance to come out here to the States and get a fresh slate, I'm gonna tell you a true story, man, okay? So I had C's and D's. Barely passed through, okay? Wasn't the smartest guy in the room.
I got one GCSE, bro. You're fine. You're all right. Go on.
So don't tell the Americans I said this, right? So I get to high school and they get all my transcripts and all my grades and all that stuff. And they sit me down and they're like, hey, Chris, just so you know, England's a little bit harder academically, so we're going to switch all your C's to B's.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, you kidding me? Like, they just upgraded me and made me feel like, I was like, okay. So I sat down, I said, Self,